Hold on tight, music lovers, because we're about to hurtle back to the kaleidoscopic era of the swinging 60s, a time of profound cultural shifts, burgeoning social movements, and a soundtrack that still echoes in our souls. Forget the glossy, sanitized versions you might have heard. Today we're diving deep into the extraordinary, often tumultuous, life of a true musical titan, a voice that could effortlessly traverse the spectrum from raw, bluesy power to an ethereal, angelic whisper. We're talking about Cass Elliot, affectionately, perhaps even controversially, known as Mama Cass. But as we embark on this journey, prepare to challenge preconceptions, because that very nickname, etched into the annals of music history, might have been far more of a burden than a blessing for the woman behind the legend. The curtain rises on September 19th, 1941, in the bustling city of Baltimore, Maryland, where Ellen Naomi Cohen entered the world. Her formative years were a testament to resilience, a childhood shaped by the grit and determination of immigrant dreams. Her grandparents, Russian Jewish emigres, navigated the choppy waters of financial hardship, but a flicker of entrepreneurial spirit burned bright in her father, who, against the odds, found considerable success developing Baltimore's innovative lunch wagons. Her mother, a steadfast and nurturing presence, balanced the scales as a dedicated nurse. Home life for Ellen meant sharing laughter and the occasional sibling squabble with her older brother Joseph and her younger sister Leah, who, in a beautiful echo of family talent, would also find her own distinctive voice in the world of music. Their family odyssey took them from the charming suburban landscapes of Alexandria, Virginia, back to the familiar embrace of Baltimore when Ellen was just 15. This was a pivotal age, a threshold moment where a young girl began to shed the chrysalis of her birth name. It was during these impressionable high school years that she adopted Cass, a name chosen not for its artistic flair, but as a heartfelt homage to a dear high school friend. Later, in a poignant gesture of remembrance and connection, she would embrace Elliot as her surname, dedicating it to another cherished friend who had passed away. Initially, the allure of the stage beckoned to Cass, not the recording studio. The theatrical arts captivated her imagination during her time at Forest Park High School in Dorchester. Such was her fervent dedication to this burgeoning passion that she made the audacious decision to leave school just shy of graduation, packing her meager belongings and setting her sights on the ultimate proving ground for aspiring performers, New York City. The stage lights, she believed, were calling her name. New York City, a crucible of dreams and disappointments, greeted Cass Elliot with its characteristic blend of promise and brutal reality. Under her chosen stage name, she diligently toured in the 1962 musical production of The Music Man. Imagine the scene: a hopeful, perhaps slightly naive young woman traversing the country, pouring her heart into every performance, dreaming of her big break. Yet the fickle finger of fate had a rather ironic twist in store. In a moment that would become a footnote in Broadway history, Cass famously auditioned for and subsequently lost the coveted role of Miss Marmalstein in I Can Get It For You Wholesale. The performer who clinched the part, a then unknown powerhouse talent named Barbra Streisand. Talk about tough competition. It's a moment that perhaps underscores the sheer raw talent of the era and the incredibly high bar set for aspiring stars. It wasn't until Cass made another geographical shift, moving to Washington, D.C., to pursue studies at American University, that the true magnetic pull of singing began to assert its irresistible force. Her foray into the professional music scene commenced with the formation of the Triumvirate, a nascent group she forged alongside Tim Rose and John Brown. The year 1963 saw a reshuffle, with James Hendrix stepping in for Brown, and the trio with renewed vigor rebranded themselves as the Big Three. Their first recorded track, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod, released in 1963, was a mere prelude, a faint echo of the formidable vocal prowess that would soon captivate millions. The carousel of musical collaboration continued its spin, and by 1964, Elliot and Hendrix, now joined by the charismatic Canadians Zal Yanofsky and Denny Doherty, coalesced to form the Mugwumps. Though their lifespan as a band was relatively brief, a mere 8 months, it proved to be a crucial proving ground, a vital stepping stone on the path to something truly monumental. Now let's address one of the most enduring and frankly bizarre anecdotes woven into the fabric of Cass Elliot's legend. The story, recounted with wide-eyed wonder by fans for decades, posits that her already impressive vocal range miraculously expanded by an additional 3 notes after a rather dramatic incident. A piece of scaffolding, allegedly, fell squarely on her head at a construction site in the Virgin Islands. And here's the kicker. Cass herself, with a twinkle in her eye, confirmed this peculiar tale in a 1968 interview with the venerable Rolling Stone. It was a fantastic story, certainly adding to her mystique. However, as the years passed and the inner circles of the music world became more transparent, close friends eventually spilled the tea. They gently suggested that this outlandish, almost comic origin story was a cleverly crafted smokescreen, a far more palatable explanation for the agonizingly long period John Phillips, the notoriously perfectionist and sometimes brutally honest leader of what would become the Mamas and the Papas, had kept her out of his nascent supergroup. The unvarnished, less glamorous truth? Phillips, with his exacting standards and a troubling fixation on appearance, privately believed she was too heavy to be a part of his meticulously curated musical vision. It's a stark, rather cruel contrast to the whimsical tale of the falling scaffolding, revealing the insidious pressures and judgments that permeated the industry, even for a talent as undeniable as Cass. And then, the planets aligned, the stars converged, and the Mamas and the Papas were born. It was Denny Doherty, a man who recognized Cass's raw talent and vibrant spirit, who ultimately played the pivotal role in swaying John Phillips to finally, reluctantly, admit Cass into their fold. And in a charming twist of fate, it was Cass herself, according to Doherty, who sparked the initial idea for the band's now iconic and unforgettable name. John Phillips, the maestro with a stubborn streak, had initially voiced his public concerns about Cass's voice being too low for their intricate harmonies. But his private reservations, as we now know, centered on her physical appearance, a superficial judgment that speaks volumes about the era's narrow beauty standards. Yet Cass's unwavering determination, her profound yearning to be an integral part of this groundbreaking musical endeavor, and her undeniable, deeply felt longing to be near Doherty, even if it meant humbling herself to become the band's gopher, running errands and assisting with the mundane tasks, speaks volumes about her indomitable spirit, and perhaps a poignant undercurrent of unrequited affection. Once she was finally in, there was simply no denying her incandescent presence. Cass Elliot wasn't just a singer, she was a force of nature, a magnet of charisma. She quickly became legendary for her razor-sharp wit, her infectious, booming laughter, and an unshakable optimism that radiated outwards, often making her the undeniable focal point, the most captivating member of the Mamas and the Papas. Her voice was not merely a component, it was the very soul of their sound, a powerful, distinctive instrument that served as the primary engine behind their rapid-fire succession of chart-topping hits. These were the anthems that defined a generation, songs that continue to resonate with an almost magical quality through the decades. The dreamy, sun-drenched harmonies of California Dreamin', the infectious optimism of Monday, Monday, and the tender, introspective beauty of Words of Love. Yet, even amidst the soaring harmonies and the dizzying heights of fame, subtle shadows lingered within their creative commune. The band itself, with a startling lack of sensitivity, even publicly referenced Cass's weight in the seemingly innocuous lyrics of Creaky Alley. No one's getting fat except Mama Cass. This seemingly throwaway line inadvertently, and rather cruelly, cemented the Mama Cass's moniker, a label she reportedly found deeply discomforting and restrictive, yet one that adhered to her like an unwelcome second skin. The emotional landscape within the group was as intricate and volatile as their intricate vocal arrangements. Cass harbored a profound, aching, and ultimately unrequited love for Denny Doherty. This emotional undercurrent ran constantly, a silent counterpoint to the band's public image of harmonious bliss. Meanwhile, Doherty himself was entangled in a passionate yet turbulent romantic relationship with Michelle Phillips, a situation that undoubtedly inflicted immense silent heartbreak upon Cass. Doherty, with a touch of remorse, later openly confessed that Cass, in a moment of vulnerability, had once proposed to him. He admitted, however, that he had been too inebriated at the time to formulate a coherent response, a tragic missed opportunity perhaps, or simply a reflection of the complicated dynamics at play. Beyond the internal dramas of the band, Cass's personal life was a revolving door of romantic entanglements. She had a string of boyfriends, and tragically, some close friends would later suggest that several of these individuals shamelessly exploited her trusting nature and, more disturbingly, her growing connection to illicit substances. David Crosby, a lifelong friend and fellow musician, spoke with disarming candor in his 1988 memoir, openly admitting to using opium and cocaine with Cass and, in a particularly grim detail, prioritizing heroin during their time in London due to its ready availability. A jarring moment of international notoriety unexpectedly thrust Cass into the spotlight in 1967. While in London, basking in the glow of the band's global success, she found herself facing legal proceedings, prosecuted for the rather peculiar crime of allegedly stealing bedsheets from a hotel. While the charges, mercifully, were ultimately dropped due to a glaring lack of evidence, Cass, with her characteristic mischievous twinkle and disarming honesty, later confessed to an audience at the prestigious London Palladium that yes, she had indeed taken 2 sheets. Her reasoning? A simple, unapologetic, "I liked them, so I took them." It was a moment that underscored her uninhibited personality, her refusal to conform. This seemingly minor infraction, however, had unexpectedly severe repercussions. The Mamas and the Papas were abruptly forced to cancel their highly anticipated UK concerts, a significant blow to their burgeoning international presence. This incident, combined with the escalating internal tensions and drug use, proved to be a critical turning point. The band, once a symbol of sun-kissed harmony, irrevocably splintered and officially dissolved the following year, marking the bittersweet end of an era for one of the most iconic and influential groups in musical history. With the vibrant yet often tumultuous chapter of the Mamas and the Papas behind her, Cass Elliot, with characteristic tenacity and an unyielding artistic spirit, bravely embarked on a solo career. It was a testament to her unyielding drive to create, to express, to perform. Over the ensuing years, she would release 5 diverse solo albums, each a unique auditory exploration of her evolving musicality, demonstrating her versatility beyond the folk rock sound of her previous band. Her most commercially successful and arguably most enduring solo recording was the timeless 1968 classic, Dream a Little Dream of Me. It was a song that, in its gentle melancholia and hopeful undertones, seemed to perfectly encapsulate the very essence of Cass herself. But the journey as a solo artist, stripped of the protective shield of a successful band, proved to be fraught with challenges. October 1968 marked a significant milestone. Cass was set to make her debut as a headlining solo artist at none other than Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. This was a high-stakes, lucrative engagement, a 3-week commitment that promised a substantial $40,000 per week, a princely sum in those days. To prepare for this monumental undertaking, Cass subjected herself to an extreme 6-month crash diet, an arduous regimen that saw her shed a remarkable 100 pounds from her 300-pound frame. The physical toll, however, was immense. This rapid and drastic weight loss triggered a cascade of health issues, including painful stomach ulcers and severe throat problems. The stress and physical strain were so profound that she quickly regained 50 pounds, a cruel cycle of effort and relapse. Compounding these physical ailments, she fell ill just before her debut and critically was severely under-rehearsed. Her opening night performance at Caesar's Palace became a night etched in infamy. By all accounts, it was a devastating failure. Her voice, usually a booming instrument of power, was barely audible, a faint whisper against the backdrop of the opulent venue. The star-studded audience, accustomed to flawless Vegas spectacles, was unsympathetic, their murmurs of disappointment growing louder. In a heart-wrenching moment of vulnerability, Cass was forced to return to the stage after her abbreviated set to offer a tearful apology to the bewildered crowd. The reviews that followed were nothing short of brutal. Esquire famously and devastatingly declared the show a catastrophe, while Newsweek delivered a crushing blow, comparing the ill-fated performance to the sinking of the Titanic. The show, a beacon of hope for her solo career, closed after just one night. Whispers and rumors like venomous serpents began to slither through the industry, suggesting rampant drug use prior to the performance. Tragically, in a moment of raw honesty, Cass later confided in a boyfriend that she had indeed injected heroin just before stepping onto that grand stage. This profound and public setback plunged Cass into a period of deep, debilitating depression, a stark, painful reminder of the crushing pressures and the often unseen struggles that plagued even the most celebrated stars. Despite this soul-crushing defeat, Cass's inherent resilience, her indomitable spirit, refused to be extinguished. She continued to grace television screens, her vibrant personality shining through even in the aftermath of her Vegas debacle. She appeared in 2 dedicated television specials that showcased her multifaceted talents, the Mama Cass television program in 1969 and the poignantly titled Don't Call Me Mama Anymore in 1973. She became a beloved and sought-after fixture on the burgeoning talk and variety show circuit of the early 1970s. Her quick wit and engaging presence making her a welcome guest on programs like The Mike Douglas Show and The Johnny Cash Show. Most notably, she graced the couch of The Tonight Show an astonishing 13 times as a guest, even taking on the prestigious role of guest host on one memorable occasion, a testament to her widespread popularity and natural charisma. Her acting career also continued its steady progression, with a notable role in the 1970 children's film Pufnstuf, and various memorable guest appearances on television. In 1973, seeking fresh direction and a renewed professional purpose, Cass shrewdly enlisted the help of Alan Carr, a brilliant and visionary manager. Carr, recognizing her unique vocal talent and stage presence, cannily steered her towards the sophisticated allure of the cabaret genre. Her new cabaret show, fittingly titled Don't Call Me Mama Anymore, a direct and defiant nod to a song specially written by a friend, encapsulating her deep-seated frustration with the persistent and somewhat infantilizing nickname, proved to be a resounding success, earning widespread critical acclaim in Las Vegas, a city that had once witnessed her most devastating professional setback. In a heartwarming tribute to her enduring impact and connection to her roots, the city of Baltimore, her birthplace, officially declared August 15, 1973, as Cass Elliot Day, a truly fitting honor for a local girl who had made it big. Beyond the blinding glare of the spotlights and the incessant hum of public life, Cass's personal world was a labyrinth of complex relationships, unspoken desires, and private heartbreaks. She married twice. Her first union in 1963 was with her bandmate, Jim Hendrix. This was a marriage born not of romance, but of pragmatism. Reportedly a marriage of convenience orchestrated to help Hendrix avoid the Vietnam War draft. It was a union, by all accounts, that was never consummated and ultimately annulled in 1968, a mere contractual arrangement rather than a true partnership. Her second marriage in 1971 was to Donald von Wiedenmann, a journalist and the heir to a Bavarian baron. This brief union, too, was short-lived, dissolving after only a few months, further highlighting her search for stability and connection in a world of constant motion. Perhaps the most deeply personal and enduring aspect of her private life was her daughter, Owen Vanessa Elliot Kugel, born on April 26, 1967. Cass, fiercely protective of her child, steadfastly guarded the identity of Owen's father, a secret she carried with her throughout her life. It was only years after Cass's passing that Michelle Phillips, a true and loyal friend, played a crucial role in helping Owen uncover the truth about her biological father, Chuck Day. His identity, respecting Cass's original wishes, was not publicly revealed until his own passing in 2008. The responsibility of raising a young Owen, then just 7 years old, fell to Cass's loving younger sister Leah Kunkel, a testament to the strong familial bonds that underpinned Cass's life. And then there were the more disturbing rumors, the chilling whispers that circulated in the darker corners of the music scene, suggestions of a relationship with the infamous cult leader, Charles Manson. Disturbingly, even John Phillips, in a moment of finger-pointing, went so far as to blame Cass for allegedly inviting Manson into their group, a truly unsettling accusation that adds another layer of complexity to her already multifaceted story. The final poignant act of Cass Elliot's extraordinary life began with a concerning incident that foreshadowed the tragedy to come. On April 22, 1974, while on the set of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, she unexpectedly collapsed. This alarming health scare, however, did not deter her. With characteristic courage and determination, she pressed on, embarking on a triumphant 2-week series of solo concerts at the prestigious London Palladium. Her final performance was met with a thunderous, heartfelt ovation, a well-deserved tribute to her enduring talent and her ability to captivate an audience. After the exhilarating high of the show, she immersed herself in the celebrations, attending Mick Jagger's 31st birthday party, followed by a late supper and a subsequent cocktail gathering. At these festive events, despite the celebratory atmosphere, friends observed her appearing visibly tired, occasionally battling a cough and exhibiting labored breathing, although her indomitable spirit and good humor seemed to remain intact. Tragically, in the early hours of July 29, 1974, at the incredibly young age of 32, Cass Elliot passed away peacefully in her sleep. She was in a London apartment owned by her friend, the singer-songwriter Harry Nilsson. The official cause of death, meticulously determined by pathologist Keith Simpson, who performed her autopsy, was a heart attack. Crucially, and contrary to the insidious rumors that would soon proliferate, no illicit substances were found in her system. Yet almost immediately, a particularly cruel and widely disseminated rumor began to take hold, that she had died by choking on a ham sandwich. This grotesque and utterly false narrative, which unfairly maligned her legacy and became a dark stain on her memory, was later revealed to have been deliberately and shockingly propagated by journalist and friend Sue Cameron. Cameron publicly confessed that she had been instructed to spread this fabricated story in Cass's obituary by Alan Carr, her manager. Carr, in a cynical calculation, believed that this scandalous yet seemingly innocuous cause of death would be far more acceptable to the public and the media than any implication that Cass's passing might have been linked to drug use. It's a sobering and deeply disturbing example of how quickly falsehoods can gain traction and irrevocably tarnish a person's memory, especially under the relentless, unforgiving glare of celebrity. In a chilling, almost poetic twist of fate, Keith Moon, the legendary wild drummer for The Who, also met his untimely end in the very same London apartment room 4 years later, also at the age of 32. Cass Elliot's physical journey concluded with her cremation at the storied Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. Her ashes were subsequently interred at the serene Mount Sinai Memorial Park in Los Angeles, a quiet, dignified final resting place for a voice that had once roared with such unbridled passion and joy. Cass Elliot's legacy is not merely a footnote in music history. It is a vibrant, enduring testament to her unparalleled talent, her magnetic personality, and her profound influence on popular culture. In 1967, her vocal prowess was recognized with a well-deserved Grammy Award for Best Contemporary R&R Group Performance, Vocal or Instrumental for Monday Monday, a collective triumph that showcased her integral role in the group's harmonious brilliance. In 1998, in a posthumous but deeply fitting tribute, she was rightfully inducted into the revered Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for her groundbreaking and unforgettable work with the Mamas and the Papas, solidifying her place among the pantheon of music legends. More recently, on October 3rd, 2022, her indelible mark on entertainment was formally etched into the concrete of Hollywood Boulevard, with the unveiling of the 2,735th star on the iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame, a shimmering, permanent acknowledgement of her lasting impact. Her music, imbued with a timeless quality, continues to resonate with new generations, her voice finding fresh audiences and renewed appreciation. Her recordings were prominently featured in the poignant and critically acclaimed British play and subsequent film adaptation Beautiful Thing, lending their emotional depth to the narrative. Her extraordinary life story has inspired various theatrical productions, including the captivating 2004 Dublin stage show, The Songs of Mama Cass, which delved into her repertoire and personal journey. On the silver screen, her complex persona has been brought to life by talented actresses. Shannon Lee portrayed her in the biographical film Dragon, The Bruce Lee Story, and Rachel Redleaf captured her essence in Quentin Tarantino's star-studded 2019 masterpiece, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Beyond these direct portrayals, her solo hits, like the uplifting Make Your Own Kind of Music and the optimistically charged It's Getting Better, have been expertly woven into the fabric of contemporary television, prominently featured in pivotal episodes of popular shows such as the mystery-laden Lost and the darkly compelling Dexter, demonstrating the continued relevance and emotional power of her songs. Her discography is a rich auditory journey through her remarkable career, a comprehensive collection that showcases her artistic evolution. It includes her formative recordings with the Big Three and the Mugwumps, the unforgettable harmony-laden anthems she crafted with the Mamas and the Papas, and the soulful depth of her solo albums. These include the iconic Dream a Little Dream, the introspective Bubblegum, Lemonade, and Something for Mama. The collaborative Dave Mason and Cass Elliot, the self-titled Cass Elliot, the road-weary yet hopeful The Road Is No Place for a Lady, and the defiant live recording of Don't Call Me Mama Anymore. Her notable singles, each a melodic masterpiece in its own right, include the enchanting Dream a Little Dream of Me, the inviting Move in a Little Closer Baby, the uplifting It's Getting Better, the empowering Make Your Own Kind of Music, and the forward-looking New World Coming. These songs, individually and collectively, stand as enduring testaments to a voice that possessed the rare ability to swing effortlessly from soaring, unbridled optimism to tender, raw vulnerability, captivating listeners with every note. And that's all for today's video. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future uploads. See you next time.